Alofi, brothers and sisters, Oriire Funo Wo, good tidings to you. I pray that you're feeling awake, aware, and elevated in mind, body, and spirit, wherever you are and whatever may be happening around you. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. If you're striving to change your life by following the guidance of our ancestors, then you're in the right place. This is where we break things down to help you to expand your mind into the wisdom of the Ifa spiritual tradition of Ancestor and Orisa worship. Itesi Waju Ati Iso Kan, progress and peace. Everything we share here is intended to assist you in making progress and finding peace and success in your life. Your goal here is consistent progress, not perfection. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. Homage to the one who sends and to those who are sent. Homage to Orisha and Egun. Now, if you're new to these video lessons, I'm Baba Umar, Oluranse Emese, voice of the MSA, member of the Isoro Traditional Council of Chiefs in Ile-Ife, Nigeria, Oluwo of the House of Umar, and Babalawo of Ile-Ife, Orisha, the House of the Mysteries of the Orisha. You can learn more about the MSA and the Isoro Council in the description section below and on our website. Asheo. Our topic in this video is the 16 Truths of Ifa. Truth 14, sacrifice guarantees success. Now, we've talked about Ebo, sacrifice, before in our Ifa Iwa series of lessons, and so we've touched on some of these things. You can go back and review those lessons to kind of, refresh yourself. Ideally, by now, you should be doing Ebo on a regular basis because you'll be doing your Oshe Ifa ceremony every 4th or 5th day of the week. So you should be pretty much familiar. What I want to do today is I want to give you a deeper understanding of what you bring to the process of Ebo, and also share with you a few proverbs or Ifa sayings, verses that will, help you to internalize the spirit, the energy of Ebo as practiced within the Ifa tradition. Now, some religious philosophies and paths tell the adherents that even their place in the hereafter is not guaranteed. The adherents' success in achieving the purpose of their existence and their personal dreams, goals, and aspirations in this life is based upon a somewhat uncertain, indefinite, or unclear journey. The result is that disagreements, dissension, and divisions arise within that particular group or community or tradition, sometimes bringing bitterness and even hatred into the community of believers. The 14th truth of Ifa, that sacrifice guarantees success, makes a very powerful statement that in this tradition, the spiritual tradition of Ancestor and Orisa worship, Ifa says there is a way to successfully navigate your journey in the Loja. There is a way to fulfill the purpose of your existence, the reason that you chose to come into this world and this life. There is a way for you to fulfill your personal dreams, goals, and aspirations. And I know that's what you want. That's why you return to these videos on a regular basis. Each month I'm submitting uploading a video, you've been watching and continue to watch, and hopefully you will continue to watch and spread the word about these video lessons. You do that. You attend these regular sessions because you want to improve your life. You want to live a life that feels fulfilled to you. That's what we are trying to offer you in these lessons. We're trying to give you the guidelines, the information that you need to be able to make the kinds of decisions that can move you towards success. So Ifa offers us one of the truths. Ifa says that the success that you seek, whether it is to gain, to avoid, to advance, to overcome, or to evade, is guaranteed. Make sure you read the small print. So I say that jokingly in a way, but it's true. The guarantee that Ifa offers you is conditional. The condition is not bad or out of line with anything. The condition is that it is up to you to choose to see. Choose Sha, to see, Ri or Ori, Orisha, to choose to see. It's up to you how successful you will be in applying Ifa to your everyday life so that you can feel fulfilled, that you have lived a life that addresses your chosen destiny. Asheo. So Ifa points the way to the immense joy of successful living, not by pointing or directing you towards someone or something outside of yourself. Ifa instead points you, the seeker, the devotee, towards your own higher self, towards your own Ori, towards your own God self, and it instructs you to listen and follow the guidance of your Ori. It is said that when you come to the Babalawo for a divination, as many of you have come to me, the answers that come are by the guidance and permission of your own Ori. Nothing proceeds or emerges without the permission of your personal Ori. So Ifa is constantly reminding us that you and we are in control. We're creating the world that we're navigating by our choices, by our thinking, by our actions and reactions to things. We're shaping our world. When the energies of the Loja and the forces of everyday life overwhelm or confuse or raise your doubts about some choice or decision that you're trying to make, drowning out the voice of your Ori, you turn to your Babalawo, your Orisha, or your Obi, to help you to reset Isopo, connectivity between your physical Ori, influenced by the Loja, the marketplace, and your spiritual Ori, which is attuned to Emi-Orun, the spirit of heaven. There are as many definitions and ideas about success as there are people. The notion of sacrifice is also somewhat difficult to pin down. What one person considers to be a sacrifice may be different for someone else. In the Ifa tradition, the sacred Odu give us specific ebos or sacrifices to make depending on what was cast by the Babalawo or by you in addressing whatever the problem was or the issue was that you brought to the process of divination. Consider all of the different kinds of sacrifices that are being made right now in this moment. Sacrifices emerging from the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still killing 300 people a day. Last number that I heard, 300 people a day are dying from the COVID-19. All of the wars, the geopolitical conflicts, and the plague of racism and the institutional and social disintegration that is presently raging across the United States and around the world. So there are different kinds of sacrifices, different things that we can do that will be considered ebo, or sacrifice, or an offering. Sacrifice can be offering of plants, herbs, or animals, as our ancestors have done for thousands of years. Or it could be surrendering a possession as an offering to a god or to a divine or supernatural figure. The word sacrifice comes from Middle English, Latin, sacer, S-A-C-E-R, which means holy. So in the religious and spiritual context, at its root, a sacrifice, ebo, is intended to be a holy and spiritual act. So you don't approach ebo, kind of helter-skelter, kind of, oh, okay, No, you have to put your mind, your heart, your awareness in the right vibration, in the right frequency, in order for ebo to be successful, to fulfill the commitment of it being a guarantee of your success. You have to bring the right ingredients to that process. If it's an offering of food, you don't prepare the food and just, go to wherever you want to make the offering, the base of a tree or a shrine or whatever, and you just kind of, lay it down and off you go, with no further thought or no energy going into that process. This is not, again, it's not something that is done lightheartedly or absent-mindedly. Ebo requires a conscious, heartfelt commitment. Sacrifice is also an act of giving up something valued for the sake of something else regarded as more important or worthy. So when you're asked to make a sacrifice in ebo, you're coming to the Babalawo, you're coming to Orisa, you're coming to your Oriire, and you're saying, this is where I am on my path, and this is what I need to happen. I need this energy to be blocked. I need this energy to be reconstituted. I need this door to be opened. I need, this cure to be made manifest. You coming with a need, with something that you want, and so you're giving up something for the sake of something that you consider to be more important. You want a good mate in your life, someone that you can spend your life with, who's going to reinforce your movement towards your destiny. Okay, you can bring that to your Oriire, you bring that to Orisa, you bring that to the Babalawo cast. You get a reading, and with that reading comes an ebo, and that ebo says, we want you to give up this, to do this, to make this offering in order for us to do what it is that you're asking us to do. Remember, Ifa is based on the law, entertains or is wrapped around the idea of reciprocity. It's a give and take reality. So you have to give something in order to receive something. What you give should be important to you, but obviously you're giving it because it's not more important than what it is that you're asking for or looking to receive. Ashe, ashe, ashe. So in that sense, sacrifice, ebo, is both a negotiation and a strategy. Okay? You're negotiating with the universe, with universal consciousness, with the expressions of that universal consciousness that we call Orisha, Oriire. You're negotiating with them and you're doing what you're doing, again, not absent-mindedly, but strategically. How you do it, where you do it, is important to the strategy. Ashe. Ifa prescribes many different sacrifices. If we wanted to delineate them into broad categories, we could say that there are ebos, sacrifices called for in the context of a reading or a voluntary offering to Orisha or to Egungun, the spirit of ancestors. Again, making this negotiating, I will give this and I'm looking for this. Then there is Epese. Epese is a provision made beforehand to clear the way to proceed with a ritual or a ceremony. For example, some of you have come to me for a reading, say your Odu Ojo Ibi, your birthing Odu reading, and when I consulted to see if the way was clear for me to perform the reading, the answer was yes, conditional. That meant that there was something that the seeker, that you had to do first before we could proceed with the birthing Odu divination. That is Ipese. Something that is done to open the way for us to go to the next stage of doing the reading and coming up with the Ebo. BOA, BOA, Rui Fasoro. Like Proverbs is how Ifa speaks. So I want to give you, again, it's some sayings, some Ifa quotes, some proverbs that will help to bring together your understanding of what you need to bring to the process of doing an Ebo. Okay? So the following sayings and proverbs will hopefully give you an appreciation for the beauty, the power, and the perspective of this amazing spiritual tradition and why it is adhered to by tens of millions of devotees around the world. Ifa persists because it works. It produces results. And the reason that it produces results is because of the power of Ebo, of sacrifice, and the importance of the ingredients that go into, that you bring into that process of Ebo or sacrifice. So let's look at three important elements that are tied to this truth of Ifa. Sacrifice guarantees success. So there's the Ilana Isen, ritual. There's Ori, your Ori, second ingredient. And then the third ingredient or component or element of this ritual is Ebo. Okay. For your Ebos to serve their intended transformative function, all three of these elements must be integrated into a coherent vibration from your heart and the heart of the Babalawo who is performing the divination for you. The transformative power and purpose of our ceremonies and rituals is clearly exemplified in the expression, we're talking about ritual now, Awe ati ebo nimuni ribi Orisha. Fasting and rituals transform you into the image of the Orisha. It doesn't say it transform you into Orisha. It says it transform you into the image of the Orisha. What? Awe ati ebo, fasting and rituals. It's noteworthy that the word ebo, as I mentioned, is also translated as ritual in addition to sacrifice or offering. Okay. So the need for coherence between the heart and all aspects of your Ori is expressed. And that idea is reinforced in the saying, Ori inu wa mabatodeje. May your spiritual Ori not be in conflict with your physical Ori. Okay, so you don't come to Ebo scattered, thinking about what happened yesterday while you're doing your Ebo, thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow while you're doing your Ebo. No, you have to come and be present in the moment, present in what it is that you're doing. Your energy has to be in the Ebo, in the process of the Ebo. You are the most important ingredient in that process. So, Ori, the second component. So first there's the ritual, and Ori, what you bring to the ritual. So as we've discussed previously, you're not your body. You're not your mind. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. I know you think that you're your thoughts, but you're not your thoughts. If you were your thoughts, do you really think that you would think some of the thoughts that you think about yourself? Thoughts of helplessness, hopelessness, unworthiness, that you don't, undeserving. I mean, think of all the kind of negative thoughts that run through your head, part of your early childhood programming from parents, from your school, from friends and neighbors, from the general society. I mean, look, those of us who grew up in this country and really from a number of places around the world, who are people of color, of African descent, we've had all kinds of negative stuff put in our heads from early childhood. So it's important that we recognize that some of what we think is not from us. It's somebody else's stuff. Okay? And so part of the process of coming to Ebo, of making your Ebo successful, is starting with understanding the nature of your Ori and how Ori plays into the performance of your Ebo. So you're not your body, you're not your mind, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. You are Imolara, the awareness that perceives the ongoing interplay between these capacities of your aura ojubo, your body temple, your avatar. This wonderfully designed avatar that we operate through. We as spiritual beings operate through this avatar in order to be able to manifest things in the world, in the Loja. So we say, Ohun Ori Wase, Komani Salahi Se'eyo. What Ori comes to fulfill, it cannot but fulfill it. Read the small print. It cannot but fulfill it if it is following the guidance of Ifa, if it's doing what it's supposed to do in the way that it's supposed to be done. You can't fail. What Ori comes to fulfill, it cannot but fulfill it. And we say, Ori Lomo, Ibi Tongbe, Esere. Ori alone knows the direction of the feet. I can't tell you where to go. She can't tell you where to go. He can't tell you where to go. Only your Ori can guide you. Now, Ori may use me to bring you a message of guidance, may use her, or use him, or use it. But it's Ori that knows the direction of your feet. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. So now let's look at Ebo. Ebo is a ritual or offering made to appease the deities or spiritual beings, often involving sacrifices or gifts. When you create coherence between your heart and your brain, between your heart and your Ori, between your physical Ori and your spiritual Ori, when you create coherence between them, you will have the ashe, the spiritual power, to bring about the changes, the transformation that you are seeking in performing the particular ebo. When you've done the ebo, if you've done it correctly, you'll feel the ashe, you'll feel that energy, and you'll have no hesitation to say, ebo fen eruda. The offerings are accepted, evil departs. So, yes, sometimes we will go back to Oriша and we'll consult and ask, has the ebo been accepted? And we cast. Sometimes it's absolute yes, sometimes it's a balanced yes, sometimes it's a yes conditional or a no conditional. But the spirit, the energy that we come to the process of ebo with, and the attitude that we have after performing the ebo, should be ebo fen eruda. The offerings are accepted, evil departs. Okay, if the reading on the success of the ebo says, wait 3 days and consult again, not a problem. Our energy is saying, look, the ebo is going to be accepted, and the reason that I'm doing the ebo is going to be fulfilled. Okay, so we approach it with that sense of positivity about the outcome. Oja oburu ebo ni igbe niyo. Oja oburu ebo ni igbe niyo. In the days of turbulence, it is ebo, sacrifice, that saves. We're living in the days of turbulence right now. I know you're experiencing what's going on in America. I hope you're keeping track of what's going on the motherland as well. What's going on with Captain Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso, and really across the African continent. Man, we are in the midst of tremendous change. What's happening on the African continent is positive. Okay? What's happening around the world is turbulent, but it's all for this transition into the 5th stage of creation. So we're in the cocoon, we're in the chrysalis. This is the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. And right now, what we're going through, these days of turbulence, are what's going on in the chrysalis. It is ebo that saves us, that has the potential to save us from the harshest consequences of what we're going through in this period of time. People are going to suffer. There's going to be hardship. How much? How bad will it get? How bad will it get for you? That depends on you. And it depends on whether you're willing to take the powers that you have, apply them in the area of sacrifice, making this negotiation, making this deal with the universe, that I will live according to Iwa Pele. I will live the kind of life that is reflective of my ancestors and the highest principles of my ancestors, and I will make a bow to negotiate, to do my part in bringing about the good condition, which we've talked about and we'll talk about some more. Riru ebo ni igbeni, riru ki igbe eyan. It is the offering of sacrifice that brings blessings. Neglect of sacrifice blesses no one. These proverbs and sayings represent some of the divine agreements made in the Ifa tradition of Ancestor and Orisha worship. And why does Ifa persist? Because it works. Ifa ki ipuro. Ifa does not lie. Ifa ki iseke. Ifa does not mislead or deceive. It doesn't backbite. Ohun tiyo osele nifa unwi. Ifa simply says what will happen. You go to the Babalawo, you have a relationship issue, you have a financial issue, you have a health issue, you go to the Babalawo, he casts, there's a reading, an Odu that your Ori brings to the forefront. The Babalawo makes an interpretation, or you make an interpretation of the Odu, the particular essay that applies to you. You feel that, you recognize that. There may be an Ebo there in that Odu that tells you what you need to do in order to empower change in your life. Okay. Opele ki iseke. Opele does not mislead. Opele is the divining chain, one of the divination tools of the Babalawo. So Ifa makes this agreement with us. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you what your options are. And I'm going to tell you what it looks like if you take this road and what it looks like if you take this road. They're not the same. Okay? It's up to you to choose which road you're going to take. Our recommendation, do this Ebo and take this road and things will work out for you. Don't do the Ebo and take that road and that's on you. We're not saying bad things are going to happen. We're simply saying there's the possibility that some bad things are going to happen. It depends on the decisions that you make along the way. When we go into the Odu Ifa, the sacred oracles, we've got 2 more sections of the 16 Odu, 16 truths of Ifa. We'll do 2 more, 15 and 16. And then we're going to go into the Odus in a more specific way. We're going to go certain Odus I've picked out, and we're going to go through those and break them down so that you can see where the different information about that we've been sharing, where that information is coming from. Okay. So there is so much more to this topic. Again, you can find more on this particular topic in the Ifa lessons. But these few proverbs and sayings can help you to see how Ifa points the way to enhance the connection between you and the true source of your power and guidance, your spiritual Ori, your divine self, your Ori-Iponri. Your Ori-Iponri is your original form of pure energy, divine being, or true spiritual entity that manifests first from your original energy source, Orisun. Your Ori-Iponri also resides in one of the first realms created by Source. That realm is termed Orun in Ifa, heaven in Ifa. So when you do Ebo, it's going to be successful if you've brought the different elements of ritual, Ori, and Ebo, if you've brought the elements together in the right frame of mind, with the right frequency, with the right coherence between heart and brain and Ori, then it's going to be successful. It's said that if the devotee comes to the Babalawo and an Ebo is given, and the Babalawo performs the Ebo, and you're not successful, it's because the Babalawo did not have the spiritual knowledge or the spiritual power, the ashe, to effect that Ebo, that sacrifice in your behalf. So this is why I told you when we were doing the Ifa Iwa lessons and we talked about Ebo, you don't do Ebo Ejitutu, blood sacrifice. You don't have the. Remember, any time that we're dealing with the spiritual realm, we open a vortex, a doorway between the earthly realm and the spiritual realm, there's two-way traffic. You open the door so you can send stuff through, but in the process, stuff can come back through from the spiritual realm, some of which you may not want to come through. Okay? So this is why it's important for you to be mindful of this process of performing Ebo, to bring your awareness to it, to bring your focus to it, so that you're not being haphazard and neglectful about what's involved in this powerful process. The idea of following the guidance of one's own Oriire points to the power that lies in each of us. In too many cases, however, that power remains untapped because we forget or we lack the knowledge to be able to come to Ebo, to sacrifice, to Ifa, with the right frame of mind, at the right frequency. So when we go to the next lesson, the 15th truth of Ifa, it acts as a reminder for you to override any sense of limitation. Okay? You came for a reason, you came to be successful, and the entire universe is working towards your success. It's up to you, though, to make sure that you align things in such a way that what is for you can come to you, and what is not for you, you don't call it to you. Ranti Tani Iwoni. Remember who you are. Ranti Itiri Iwode. Remember why you came. Ashe. Ashe. Asheo. The 15th truth of Ifa states, the Orisa live within us. We'll discuss more of this truth, obviously, in our next lesson. But dear brothers and sisters, I really pray that these lessons are helping you to navigate your life and to be successful, to accomplish the things that you came into the world to accomplish. That's why we are here. That's why I take the time to make these video lessons for you, so that you can experience the power of Ifa and use it to navigate your life to that which you came to accomplish. If you appreciate the lesson, the wisdom that we share on this channel, please help us to expand our reach and grow our audience by subscribing, clicking that like, thumbs up button, leaving your comments below, and sharing this video with others. All of that helps to affect the algorithms of YouTube so that our videos show up on people's feeds and more people have the opportunity to say, that's something that I want to look into. That's something that I want to participate in. That's something that I want to come into understanding of. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Let's work together to help our YouTube Egbe. We are a family. We're a spiritual family. We're on the other side of this electronic medium, but the energy, that the love that I'm sharing with you from me, and the love that I feel coming from you, right? We're connected even though it's through this medium. Again, understanding just how powerful we are. So let's work together to help our YouTube Egbe, our spiritual family, grow. Let's say to 5,000 members, subscribers, by this time next year. Okay, not a huge goal, but a worthwhile goal. Remember, this is all part of the process of bringing about the good condition. Also, don't forget to please contribute to our GoFundMe campaign for the Ifa Temples and Shrines Restoration Project. Okay, when you download the PDF copy of the script, the link for the GoFundMe campaign is there. Information is also posted in the updates section of the website and in the description section of this video below. Oh, dear brothers and sisters, I pray that you are deriving immense benefit from the time that you spend studying, reviewing, and applying the wisdom that we're sharing on this channel. Ki Olo-dumare Orisha ati egun, fifune ni itona imoye ati opo ire. May Olo-dumare Orisha and Egun bestow on you guidance, wisdom, and abundant blessings. Ifo kanbale, peace of mind from Olo-dumare. Alafia ati Ife, peace and love. Ajo lo, ajo bo. We go out together, we return together. Ashe, ashe, asheo.